Today is July 11th edition of Back Roads of Illinois. We were Central Illinois agriculture source, and in the Midwest alongside in Central Illinois agriculture, we're glad you're here with us for today. The markets, the corn yields, the flooding. The markets took a dive for this week in the soy complex, wheat, corn as well. The weather models indicate more rain than the heat for this week in the Midwest. Even though the world agricultural supply is coming up on tomorrow morning at 11 Central Time from the Department of Agricultural. The corn yields is pretty variable for right now with the weather in the Midwest. The pro farmer crop tour for next month because the corn yields are pretty interesting for this year in the Midwest. Flooding issue is going on within Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota. They've been swamped of water and storms for this week in the upper Midwest for right now, especially in Blue Earth, Minnesota. We were talking with Paul Pence from Pence in Lafayette, Indiana. And we were talking about the commodities markets with Tommy Grisafi and Brian Basting from Advanced Trading. Stay tuned on Back Roads of Illinois. Today, we were joining with Paul Pence from Pence Drainage in Lafayette, Indiana. Welcome to the show. How are you, Paul?
I'm great, Cesar. Thanks for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak with you and talk a little bit about our drainage business, our cover crop business, and even doing some soybean exports here in central Indiana.
Let's start with our conversation about your company and your business.
Great. Yep. We run a mid-sized company here. We're in Lafayette, southeast of Lafayette, which is about an hour northwest of Indianapolis and about 2 hours southeast of Chicago. We have a business that's segregated into several different sectors, all in ag. What we do is we have a nice drainage business where we do pattern tile work and all types of custom drainage solutions and land stewardship solutions for our clients here. And then we also have a seed business where we're representatives for Whiffles corn, Mershman seeds, Illini brand soybeans, and several other different brands. We're also in the export business for soybeans. We'll be exporting quite a few soybeans this next year, about 750,000 bushels or so to Asia. So lots of exciting stuff going on here at the Pence Group.
Do you work with the farmers in drainage in the summer or fall?
We actually do drainage work a good chunk of the year. We're doing spring and fall tiling before and after the crops. And then usually in the summertime, we have some ground that is wheat production that comes off, and we get the opportunity to lay some tile in wheat stubble.
Can you tell our audience about your experience in the drainage in Indiana?
So Indiana has some tighter clay soils. We have a lot of prairie soils as well, but both our prairie and timber soils mostly have tight subsoil, and therefore those soils are more prone to having waterlogged damage. And what we've found is that consistent pattern tile gives us the ability to plant in a more timely fashion, gives us the ability to spray, harvest, and do any tillage work that needs to be done in a more timely fashion as well. So it's a huge benefit to farmers and landowners both here, and we find that our specific approach to how we go about draining farms for our clients works really, really well. One other thing I thought I'd mention, Cesar, is that along with our tile business, I think I mentioned earlier that we have a soybean export business. And so what we are doing there is helping to give farmers additional premium to grow non-GMO soybeans. These soybeans are all used for food grade purposes in South Korea. And we're also exploring some other markets in Japan, the western coast of the United States, and some feed grade markets as well. So really, really exciting time for us, and being able to deliver some higher value product across the world and give our growers some higher value opportunities for their farms as well. One thing that I think that is really cool is that with our drainage business and our seed business and our export business, they work together. When you're growing a high value crop like non-GMO soybeans, it's really important to be able to have timely field work. And so the number one thing that we can do here to control that, since we can't control the weather, is to have really good quality drainage systems, so that we can do our best to be able to be in the field when we need to be in the field and being timely.
There is a law for the drainage industry.
There are some laws in the drainage industry. Indiana has a written drainage law. Like, for example, one of the rules in the drainage law for Indiana is that you cannot put water onto somebody else, you can put water onto somebody else with their permission. You cannot block water from somebody else. So if you have a neighbor that's upstream of you and he wants to do some drainage work, and he does, and he ties that in, and you don't like it, and you block his tile off, or you berm up his property line, that's where the Indiana drainage law would step in and say that that's not something that should be done.
Do you guys have SWCD?
Yes, we do have a soil and water conservation district here. We have several of those that we work within. A lot of times it's a county district for us in Indiana. And so we work closely with those folks when it applies. Most of the projects that we are doing are private enterprise projects, not public. So we don't work with them super often, but we do. The other thing that's interesting about Soil and Water Conservation District, et cetera, is that we've done some projects doing some specialty like open ditch work and different projects where we're doing more conservation type things. Like the open ditch project that I was referencing was a 2-stage ditch, and where you dig the ditch extra wide at the top, and then you dig a primary channel in the bottom, and then you have a secondary bench that's creates a spot for being able to have the water move more slowly as you get higher volumes of water. So yeah, we've done some pretty neat specialty projects as well.
Paul, Could you explain to our listeners about the farm operation and your drainage?
Sure. So, our family has some farm ground. We're not currently active farmers, but we do have some farm ground, and our, you know, we've put in place an active management plan that involves system tiling a certain percentage of the farm on a regular basis, and so this is what we find that a lot of our clients do is once we start doing some drainage work for them, and they start to see returns off of that, then they've got some cash to be able to use to reinvest back into the farm. And so one of the super neat things about drainage is that not only does it provide a dividend with a yield increase every year, but it also holds a good majority of its value in the land itself. And so it just ends up to be a really, really neat investment. I'm really grateful to be on your show today, Cesar, and it's been pretty fun to be able to tell you about Pence Group. Um, uh, I'm appreciative of what you do in this space, and grateful to know you as a friend. And I just, I admire what you do, and hopefully together we can help agriculture to be as thriving as we possibly can in America. And so thank you very, very much for inviting me on the show today.
You have to be hand-on or with the tractor?
The way that we do our drainage work is with large scale plows. So we use two Braun tile plows to do our work. No, just that we really pride ourselves in working alongside of growers and landowners both, and that we're just humbled to be in this space. And it's just, again, like I just said a couple of minutes ago, Cesar, it's just an honor to be able to serve along folks like yourself.
Do you have any final thoughts, or Rhea did it?
I don't think so. As we kind of round out the back half of the summer here, just anybody that's listening and farming here in America, that know that over at Pence Group, little old Pence Group in Indiana, will be praying for you and your families for a safe and bountiful harvest this year, and we'll maybe even pray for a little bump in the markets as well.
Thanks, Paul. I enjoyed our conversation.
I did as well, Cesar. God bless. Take care.
This is Paul Pence from Pence Drainage in Lafayette, Indiana, on back roads of Illinois. We were looking for the commodity markets on back roads of Illinois. Corn futures finished in up 3 to 8 cents. Soybean futures finished in down 8 to 10 cents. Wheat futures finished in up 2 to 3 cents. Now that we are going to talk about the livestock market for today on this afternoon. Cattle futures finished in up 7 to 4 cents. Feeder cattle finished in up 4 to 5 cents. Lean hogs finished in up 4 to 5 cents. Texas crude oil finished in up 3 to 5 cents per barrel. Dow Jones finished in down 7 points. We were coming back on back roads of Illinois. And welcome back with us on back roads of Illinois. This crop has brought mixed bag for corn and beans in the Midwest and central Illinois. However, some farmers are concerned about the yields for this year because they've got some flooding, dryness, heat for the country, especially in the Midwest. Flooding issue isn't over yet to the people in Iowa and Minnesota. There is 8 inches of rain near Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and Blue Earth, Minnesota. This has been a challenge situation for corn with tar spot and beans with white mold. Do you have these diseases? You have to be consulted to your dealer in your area. You've been listening to Thanks to Listen on Back Roads of Illinois, and thanks to Paul Pence from Pensec, and thanks Brian Basting and Tommy Grisafi from Advanced Trading in Bloomington, Illinois. We're running out of time on Back Roads of Illinois. You can listen to our show wherever you get your podcast. For Back Roads of Illinois, I am Cesar Delgado. Have a good weekend.